BJ Nix, are you here?
Present.
Do we have
Present.
Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie?
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes.
Cool.
And the
All right.
margaritas.
All class here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
This is the time to line up behind your team, to support your team. Have faith in that team.
It's peaks and valleys. It can't always be good. And as I always tell people, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But when we do know about
house call. Tremont Diggs, pick six. It's coming. They see it. Knocked away. Oh, Gregory. Hurts in trouble. 3 Cowboys wrap him up, make it 4. Micah Parsons is unblockable.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday. It's training camp. Man, y'all know the business. Pick Six is in the building. Time to cover. And look, real quick, as I say cover what's going on in training camp. Hey, man, shout out to the Cowboys today doing a little something for us to put a little meat on the bone, if you will, to have some things to talk about. First and foremost, I hope everybody's having a fantastic Wednesday. Professor O, how's your Wednesday going, sir?
Oh, it was going just fine, actually. I was having a great day at work. Lovely day. I was working remote today, so I didn't have to go in the office. Got my hair cut, feeling good. And then the Anthony Barr signing happened, and I was like, okay, cool. Because we already had clips from press conferences from our coordinators, so we already had content ready to go. We had a bunch of segments lined up, and then Anthony Barr came. We're like, let's just rearrange things a little bit. So, yeah, it was a good day.
It's funny because I saw David Hellman. He tweeted out there. He was like, how cruel is it that 30 minutes earlier, we had wrapped up with Dan Quinn just to get the Anthony Barr news on the back end. Guess what? We're going to scoop and score. They fumbled. We're scooping and scoring here. It's not quite a pick six. We're just going to scoop and score. My guy Spoonie. In case y'all missed this, y'all know every single Wednesday before here, we do the pre-show space. We was in there rocking some scary news for me. One of my favorite all-time movies is Roadhouse. Shout out to Patrick Swayze. And they announced a remake in Jake Gyllenhaal picking up the mantle. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little excited. My wife is not excited at all about it because she hates every time that I watch it. But here we are. With that being said, Spoon, man, how's your Wednesday going, brother?
Let's go! Bah! That's how we started off, y'all. Let's go!
Oh,
We just want to apologize to anybody who has headphones on right now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I didn't know he was ready. I did not know he was ready. Man, let me go through here and get some shouts. I got Steve Lips is in the building, Dom's in the building, Mod Extraordinaire, Mendoza's in the building, the Dean, as I've now I gave him something. We had the re-up and we had to really work it out. And our guy O said, let's call him the Dean. Dean Dom in the building as well too. Robert Roberts as always. Mr. Cowboy 88. Shout out Jazz, my girl Jazz, who's over there on the space over here. My guy David Jenkins in the building. Man, shout out to everybody. Y'all know the drill, man. I mean, get the likes up, get the shares up, tell a friend. It's free 99 to tell a friend to share this and let people know before we get to this content. My guy Marcus in the building. Hey Marcus, and always we appreciate you over there. We appreciate over there on Facebook. But right on the bottom of the screen, hit that YouTube and come over this side and hit that sub. We're going to load up the chat for you. And that's a good question. That's a great question out the gate, because we had this kind of conversation in the back end. He can't get his college number. Can't get the college number because that was 11, and obviously that's Micah Parsons. He's only getting $2 million. Do you think LV is going to give up the 55?
No, I don't think so. And not only that, his first college number was number 2, which is also taken. So he's going to have to go with a completely different direction. I was thinking maybe he could go with 5, but that's Anger's number. So I don't know. He'll probably have to go a different route. Let's give him number 9, Jalen's.
I was going to say, just give him the number 9. Just give him the 9. Spoony, you think he's going to get the 55?
Nah, unless OV gets traded or something like that.
No.
I doubt that. No. But for me, a good number for him would be 5. Well, he's PO just at 5. Anger has it, so no.
Keep in mind,
I think whatever
like
number he gets now will be temporary.
There's gonna be a lot of numbers opening up in 4 weeks when they cut the roster down. So I wouldn't pay anything if my numbers gone. My main 2 numbers are gone. I would just chill and wait and see what opens up.
Mm-hmm. Big facts, yeah, big facts. And 54, I just saw in there, and you already dropped it. That's Sam Williams, so 54 is not available. But we'll wait and see. I like that though, because whatever number he's picking now, let's wait till we get to they did the cuts from the 90 on down, and then we might see a little switch up on his number. So with that being said, let's go get this thing cranked up, guys. Let's get into the news and notes. So we started out today. We had a young linebacker by the name of
Aaron Hansford.
Boom. He got cut, right? He got released. It happened. It opened up a roster spot. And actually, I tweeted, and my tweet was, with him being moved on, what will the Cowboys sign to fill that spot? Now, I threw out wide receiver. I threw out left tackle, place kicker. I'm not talking about all those 3 positions tonight. We'll wait and see. And they went linebacker, Professor O, as we're here now talking about it. So, yeah, Anthony Barr obviously has been linked to the Cowboys. We've talked about Anthony Barr for a long time around the Twitterverse, our chats, here live, what was going to happen with him. And it finally came to pass, I should say. And he got signed. 1-year deal, $2 million, $3 million with incentives. I think that surprised everybody. The opening numbers he was looking for was like that 11, 12 million, and they got him down to this. So Anthony Barr, let's pivot. Him being added to this roster, what do you like? What do you think this means for the defense? And where do you see Anthony Barr fitting in?
Well, first, before we talk about Anthony Barr and the fit, I just want to bring up 2 weeks ago when we did our show, Nick's passed it around the panel saying, let's go ahead and do predictions. What percentage chance do you think Anthony Barr ends up a Dallas Cowboy? Spoony, because he's turned over a new leaf and is not doing hashtag routes anymore, decided to go reverse psychology. So he gave it a -1%. Mariella, because she's feeling a little bit toxic and pessimistic this year, she went with 13%. I felt like I was getting a really good score. I gave him a 55% chance. So I went with his number 55, greater chance of it happening than not happening. And I said, I think it'll happen within 2 weeks. Nick said, I'm going to go the polar opposite of Spoony because whatever Spoony says in terms of percentages and calling players doesn't happen. So Nick's went with a 101% chance. So if we're playing the Price is Right, Nick's won by 1%. But yeah, so in terms of the fit, he fits for a plethora of reasons. First off, linebacker depth was a big issue with the Cowboys. I think all of us felt uncomfortable outside of the top 2. Jabril Cox is somebody we're excited about, but he played 9 snaps last year. 9. Right. Not even double-digit snaps in defense. So while he looked good in those 9 snaps and had an impact play against Daniel Jones, just wasn't enough meat on the bone to feel good about the position. And then we get to the Luke Giffords and the Devin Harpers and guys like that. Story Jackson kind of down the roster guys. So having somebody who's a veteran, who's a multiple-time Pro Bowler, a former All-Pro, albeit maybe not the same player now with injuries over the last 2 years, it makes you feel better about the position. And the fact that he's versatile, he can play on the line, he can play off ball, on ball, he can line up as an edge rusher, he can drop back in coverage, he can do a plethora of things, which just adds another Swiss Army knife into the defense, which allows the young lion, Micah Parsons, to be more aggressive and attack from different angles. So where he's going to fit, I don't know if he's going to be a full-time Sam. I don't know if he's going to play Will. I don't know if he's going to play everything and just kind of be a mixed bag usage. But I like the fit in terms of where he fits for the team. And I want to take – I'm not wearing a hat. Hold on. Take my hat off real quick to Stephen Jones because we've been bashing him all offseason. 99% of it was justified, but you got Anthony Barr for $2 million. I'll give you credit on that one.
Yeah, here's what within him being signed and what we kind of listened to and heard. Here's the thing that stuck out for me, because everything you said I completely agree with. First and foremost, the thing that stuck out to me, it came down to two teams, right? It came down to the Denver Broncos and us. We're really tied to some different players here and there and what's going on, but the fact that he left money on the table to come here, and it made me think. I was like, when's the last time we had a player choose the Cowboys to take less money due to coaching and want to be with said coaches on that side of the ball? I thought that was important.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's interesting. I mean, forget the nice portion of the pie that they delved out here to Barr from Stephen Jones, but I just thought in general, the thing that struck me was, wow, he took less money to come here because he wanted to be a certain set of coaches. And I think that speaks volumes because, again, and we talked about this in the space, I can't think of the last guy that showed up here and took less money due to coaching over another team or opportunity with more money to be had. So I thought that was very intriguing to the signing. I think it's the right kind of signing that we look for when we talk about depth. You can't have world beaters everywhere, but you want quality depth, not just a body. And this is quality depth. And even going into what Dan Quinn does with the multiple fronts, he wasn't asked to do a lot of rushing, if you will, in Minnesota because of the scheme that he was under there. But if you go back to his college days, outside in the 3-4 with UCLA, he did some of that. And he was injured. Was it 11 games? I think he started last year. Within that, 3 interceptions, 2.5 sacks, another 3 or 4 tackles for loss, a couple of forced fumbles, and over 70 tackles. It's great production for 11 games. But now it gives Dan Quinn another tool in the bag to use in position in different ways. And it allows Micah Parsons to run free. And that's really what you want to do. And I think what's important about that is I'm not saying that Micah Parsons is Aaron Donald. That's not what I'm saying here. What I've watched over the years with Aaron Donald out there with the Rams is this. They always give him people around him to make it interesting, whether it's Michael Brockers, Dante Fowler Jr. at one point, Floyd from the Bears, right? Who's the guy we wanted to sign this year? He ended up Von Miller. Okay, they added Bobby Wagner this year. So it's important to add these kind of pieces so that you can't just game plan and try to take, and we saw this with D-Law over years. They never got D-Law this kind of help around him, so you could double or triple team D-Law. You know where he's lining up, and you can game plan that. And to add these kind of guys and these kind of pieces around Parsons, I think is important because you can't just scheme for him. You can do things, and I just like that aspect of this signing. Spoonie, I know you were super. I mean, obviously you were super excited. You busted my eardrums earlier, and everybody else that was listening. Anthony Barr coming in here. Obviously, the money. You love the money. Man, he's. I think our guy Dean Dom, who's in the space, said he's the 40th linebacker paid. I think, Dom, you can drop that in there real quick to be sure. In the league, are there? He's like paid like the 40th or 42nd, something like that, in linebackers. For the guy and what he can do, pretty crazy. Spoon, to get that guy in here at this stage. Yeah,
first of all, I want to point out that I'm wondering, was there a representative from the Cowboys front office who was on your Twitter space late last night? Because what she was preaching, it's like they woke up. It's like, you know what?
I do want to apologize for last night. Thank God I didn't hit record. I'm glad for whatever reason didn't hit record. I'm glad I didn't. I want to apologize. But it must don't
apologize. It must have hit because you know what it is. It wasn't Cowboys fans complaining. You set the tone, and there were a lot of truths being spoken. You apologized yesterday, so you don't need to apologize today. But it was realism, and the thing is, this is what happened to. You're not asking to sign everybody, but you're saying is show that you want to compete. Show that you want to compete. You know what I mean? We're not in the times of no social media where we don't know what's going on. We're not seeing what's going on. There's no secret. We need help, and today was a good day for Cowboy Nation because Stephen Jones came out with the checkbook, negotiated like P.O. said, very good negotiation, and we got Anthony Barr. And what does Anthony Barr bring to the table? Well, great leadership. That's great for the young guys to learn from. That's great for even Michael Parsons to learn from. He's only in his second year. He's still got a lot of growing to do. He is great right now, but we want him to be greater, the greatest. And the more you keep adding this around your core players, we get the opportunity. Now, another thing to add on is that, let's be honest, okay? Look what Odell did last year. He went out there. He looked at the teams. Which team I want to go to? You don't think Anthony Barr? This is the NFL street talk. See, we over here in the social media street talk. The NFL street talk. That's when it's a lot of things being said that we don't know about. You don't think Anthony Barr is buying into what the Cowboys about in that defense? You don't think he said, "Wait a minute, I can align myself with what's over there"? I see my ex-teammate Javon Curse. He's telling me stuff about it. Wait, Coach George Edwards over there. Let's be honest. Yeah. Let's be honest. Again, listen, I don't know what $1 million feels like. I will never know, probably. Maybe one day. You know what I mean? But
knock on some wood. Yeah, I'll knock on some wood for you too. Me too.
but you know what? When you turn down money, again, like BJ said, to join the team because of the coaching, it's just not coaching. Let's be honest. He's buying into what's going on. They know what's going on over there. Okay, this is why they take their time. When you get to that stage in your career where, okay, the window is not as wide open, but it's closing in his career. I want to go out there and try to win, because if it was about money, he would have chose Denver. He chose winning, and he's buying in.
Yeah, very fair. The one thing I will say now that Anthony Barr's in house and obviously reunited with George Edwards, and if y'all been listening here for a long time, we've banged the table from the time that Edwards got here of how awesome it was to get him here and what he is as a coach around this league. He's not a name that a lot of people are going to really know unless he's on your team around the league as fans, but the coaching that he does is monumental. He really is. He's really cut from that cloth, and that's kind of what we talked about before. Is like, look, Dan Quinn, don't disrespect Dan Quinn and what he does, but we have to understand, like, the coaching behind Dan Quinn on this defense is very strong. The Joe Witts of the world, Edwards of the world, Al Harris's of the world, it's really good, and it builds up that realm. So yeah, just one of those things as you're talking about, so the culture, changing per se, the idea he wanted to get with these coaches and saw this defense and probably saw a lane that he can fit, and maybe didn't work the same way over there in Denver. Right. It's exciting times, and this is the kind of signing that makes sense, and that you can, like, okay, this works for the Cowboys with the depth and what they needed, because we've talked about linebacker a long time. Now, though, we just need that, right? Maybe we need that Anthony Barr-esque signing offensively.
Yeah, we really. So there's 3 positions that are still worrisome, right? Like swing tackle. Well, Let's Go's out. We don't know how long he's going to be out, but he's going to be out. And the talk this week is it's not a matter of if he gets surgery, it's when he gets surgery. So what does that timetable look like? So swing tackle is still an area of concern. Wide receiver is something that is a big concern for everybody. We have a little segment on that later on. And then place kicker. Was yesterday just an aberration because of the strong wind gust? That's kind of what Bones Fossil alluded to, saying there were some mechanical issues with kickers trying to overcompensate because the wind was strong. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to play in outdoor stadiums. There will be wind as a component. You're going to have to learn how to kick through. It's early in camp. We'll see how these guys look over the next few weeks, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I want a new kicker. Special teams matters. Nix has coined that as a hashtag, and it's true. Like, you don't want to lose games because your kicker missed a field goal, or because you kicked the ball off out of bounds, or because you had a muffed punt, or whatever could be the case. So yeah, it's concerning. Wide receiver is where I think they're going to go. Actually, matter of fact, when they cut Hansford, that's what I thought they were going to do. I didn't think they were going to make a trade or anything like that, but I did think they were going to go after wide receiver. So the Barr one was a pleasant surprise. But yeah, I would like to see them make a trade for a wide receiver, because there's 2 or 3 names out there that I think are obtainable without paying a ton of draft or trade compensation to get. So we'll kind of put a pin on that for now.
We'll put a pin on that. And it's funny, like, was even on the space that we were talking about in the space. That's all. See, the symmetry. We ain't got to talk just to be on the same page. Exactly. Yeah, it's all around us. So that's a great segue for here in a little bit. The one thing I will say about the Anthony Barr signing, and let me see what y'all think. I think it can do I think it can do two things actually. I think because we've heard about Clark, and he'll be back halfway through the season, like those things. I think at this point they can redshirt him, and I think by redshirting him now you can open up another roster spot per se, and then go add that piece on offense. So let me ask y'all this: do y'all think with Anthony Barr being signed, do you think at this point they're going to hit him with the, hey, Clark, we'll just see you next year? And look, Stephen Jones draft night said, hey, he's not going to miss as much time as people think. And Jerry Jones just yesterday or the day before was like, he's going to be back sooner than later. So with that being said, do you think with the Anthony Barr signing, do you think they'll redshirt Clark now?
No.
Go ahead, Simone.
No.
No?
I don't think they will.
You don't think so? Okay.
No.
Oh, you think they're going to redshirt him?
I don't know that they'll fully redshirt him. I think they're going to start him on the PUP list. So he just has to make the roster for the final cut down, and then they can immediately PUP list him. That gives you a 4-week window, or minimum of 4-game window. They don't have to activate him. They can let him stay on PUP list as long as they want, and then eventually convert it to IR. So I think they're going to wait and see how things go, because Anthony Barr has a history of injuries. Leighton Vander Esch has a history of injuries. So you can, if you put him on IR now, he'll miss the entire season, right? That's a true red shirt for him. I don't know that you have to go that route, because you do have 2 linebackers who have injury concerns. So it may be a smarter thing to let him make the final cut down, put him on PUP, have him there as a placeholder. If anything happens and you get injuries, you can then bring him back off later on in the season, and that should give him time to heal up too. So I don't think they're going to redshirt him in the true essence of it by putting in IR and having him sit out the entire season. But I think if all goes well, they'll just leave him on PUP list and not activate him.
Okay. I got Thomas in the building says, is the fact we were so defensively heavy with our moves signal Quinn's influence in-house? And we saw this last year via the draft and via the guys that they brought in during free agency, but we're just seeing the continuation this year. Is the influence in-house, or are they really this confident in the wide receivers they currently have on the roster? Confidence on the wide receivers for them? What do you think?
I know that they're saying that. I don't believe that they're as confident in the wide receiver room as what they're saying. It's a really good question, actually, Thomas. Appreciate that. I definitely think Quinn's influence is super strong within the clubhouse, but I believe a lot of the reports are they've been talking to Anthony Barr for weeks, if not months. It's been something that they've had multiple conversations ongoing. So if you think about it from that angle, if you're talking about weeks to months, that means they may have potentially been talking to him back in, say, April, May, June, July, somewhere in between there. We don't know exactly where that falls, when the wide receiver room was healthier. So I think this is something that's not necessarily a reflection of Dan Quinn's influence so much as they were waiting for the price to drop so that they could jump on that sale. I definitely think that they're not confident in the wide receiver room, because Jerry said yesterday, we like the young guys, we got to give them opportunities. And Stephen Jones said the complete opposite today. Stephen said, we're always looking at wide receivers. We're always looking to improve the roster. And it's easy to say that's cap. He's just saying that. But they've said that about linebackers. And today we did jump and strike on a linebacker. So maybe there is a wide receiver that they're targeting, that they're waiting for a bill of health, or they're waiting for the price point to drop a little bit, or they're waiting for a team to make a cut on a guy like the Giants was a team that Brian brought us mentioned. That could be a guy like Darius Slayton, that they say, we'd rather have Slayton than the guys that are available now, because they're either older players or injury-prone players, or they're not enough to move the needle. We'd rather wait for a cut down or swing a trade. So I think it's kind of a mixture of both. Quinn does have a lot of influences, which is why they wanted to get Barr. And I think George Edwards, like Nick's mentioned, probably endorsed him.
Right.
But I definitely don't think they're confident in the wide receiver room. So I think it's kind of a mix on that one.
Right. And I think, and Spoonie brought that up too, about, from yesterday to today and how the messaging was about the wide receiver position. One part of the quote unquote cap that you kind of mentioned with Steven is he's always saying, 365, blah, blah, blah. But I do think I'm with you. I do think it's a little bit different pace now where they are. Part of me wants to say this. I think part of me is I'm kind of, my needle's starting to move towards the I think it's more of a trade than a signing. And again, we're talking about a late round pick, nothing major, but Mims up there with the Jets, maybe Chenault
Laviska
Jr.
Shenault.
Yes,
Yes.
maybe Chenault Jr. from Jags, maybe a Slayton. I'm starting to lean. I'm not all the way there, but I'm starting to lean that they might go out here. The guy that got brought up as well, Preston Williams, right, from Miami, another
Right.
big body guy there. So I'm starting to lean towards they might pull the trigger on a trade to get a wide receiver more so than signing one of these guys. Now, my guy's Emmanuel Sanders. I've said it for a while, but 35, a little bit of a knee issue. I mean, over 40 catches last year, I think it was over 600 yards and like 4 touchdowns, and he can play slot and outside. That would be my guy that I would like to see from the free agency list that's available right now. Obviously, if Odell was healthy, sure, bring Odell in. You're good to go. But if he was healthy, he wouldn't be a free agent right now. He'd be somewhere already. So that's just kind of where that is. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Am I crazy? Do y'all think it's more of a trade aspect for wide? I know we're off kilter now. We're in the wide receiver because we got the question, but and we'll talk about this a little bit more later. But before we pivot into our buy or sell, do you think it's more of a trade aspect at wide receiver? Or are they going to bring in a free agent to y'all? Spoony, what do you think?
No, it's trade automatically, and the benefits of what P.O. said about Laviska Shenault. There's 3 players of that same draft that CeeDee Lamb came out of the 2020 NFL draft, and you got Laviska Shenault, you got Riga, you also got Denzel Mims. Those guys are right now pretty much buried on the depth chart of the respective teams. And the one thing about Stephen Jones is that if he's going to make a trade, he's going to make a trade where the contract is favorable, where you get the guy for a couple of years. Those guys, if you trade for any of those guys, you got 3 years. 3 years with them. Decide what you want to do. And we all know Laviska, definitely during the draft process, great potential. We know Denzel Mims from the Jets, the same thing. The situation is they haven't produced yet. But you never know. A change of address, a change of street, whatever, may benefit them come over here. So Cedric Wilson.
Yeah.
I really do think it's going to be a trade, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, Armchair, I don't think you trade anybody off the roster. I just think you would flip a late round pick personally. Would you trade somebody from the roster? Or well, first and foremost, let me pivot back. Are you leaning more trade than free agency now? Is acquiring a wide receiver at this point?
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be more of a trade first. If they're not able to swing a trade, then I think they'll go after the free agents. Because if you look at the free agents out there, aside from Odell Beckham, who's not going anywhere for a long time because of his injury. What's up, Mama Nix? He's not going anywhere because of his injury for a long time. There's probably not a lot of pressure to go after any of the wide receivers available because the ones there today are probably going to be there in 2 or 3 weeks if you don't see growth or what you're looking for in preseason. Trade, though, I definitely think is something they would consider. Laviska Shenault that Spoonie brought up is a guy that a lot of us have been talking about for a while. He's 23 years old. He has experience running the ball. He has experience as an outside receiver and inside receiver. He's like 6'1", 6'2", 225. So he's like exactly what they like in a size profile. And through 2 years in a terrible offense, he has 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns. If that's your wide receiver 3 and you can play him in a lot of different positions, I think that's a great guy to go after. And I think you probably could get him for a 4th or 5th round pick. So yeah, I think that's the route that they would elect to go because like Spoonie mentioned, you have them under cap control. You can do whatever you want to from that point because you don't have to do anything financially for 2 or 3 years. And you could do it as soon as next year, but you're not forced to do anything in terms of re-signing them right away. You have control over the contract. If you go after a free agent and do another 1-year signing, which we have a lot of guys in the last 2 years that were 1 or 2 year deals, and it's worked in our favor. At some point, though, you have to say, yes, we're paying them or no, we're not paying them, and the price goes up. Like we saw that with Curse last year. Curse was less than $1 million. This year, he was 6 times that price. Last year, Hooker was less than $1 million. This year, he was 4 times that price. Then you're going to have that question with Barr next year. If Barr steps up, do you re-sign him or let him walk? So trading and getting a guy that you have under team control would definitely be in their interest, especially if you can get a younger guy.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'll say right now. Hold on. I'm right here with Outlaw. Give me Sue and trade a late round pick for Shenault, and let's get ready for Tom. I'm telling you right now. I'm being honest with y'all right now. I said this on the space. If we sign Sue, I'm going to go streaking down I haven't went streaking in my neighborhood since we drafted CeeDee Lamb that night. I'm going streaking if we sign soon, first and foremost. Because now I'm installing. I'm telling y'all now. I'm installing a daggum Kool-Aid fountain in my house. I'm changing my profile pic to the Kool-Aid man. I'm talking 85 Bears defense if we had Sue to the mix of this thing. I'm ready. Look, say less. Red Kool-Aid all day. But if you go get me Sue and Chenault, man, I might combust. I might just instantaneously combust. I don't know. Go ahead, Spoon, with your question.
Well, real quick before Spoonie jumps on that, Spoonie, my bad. Nick's asked me the first part of the question is, would I trade a player on the roster? I don't know that there's a specific player that I would trade, but there is a position that I'm feeling really confident about right now that I may consider a trade, and that's our cornerback room. Like, I think Jordan Lewis, I know Nick's shaking his head no. I know Jordan Lewis has trade value. He does.
Ooh,
I don't know. I would rather trade a draft pick. I'm just being clear. No, I would rather trade a draft pick. But if I'm trading a player, that's pretty much the only positional group that I feel like I like the guys on the back end enough that I would be okay with that. I don't want to get rid of Brown, obviously, and Diggs is safe. But if J. Lou or maybe Donovan Wilson at safety room, I think those are the two positions I'd consider. Other than that, I'm really just trading picks. And that's my preference anyways, just get rid of a pick.
You know what? Let's put that in our back pocket because that's it can happen. That can very much happen. If you look at the guys behind those two guys, the PO just said, I know, BJ, but if you think about it, what the PO just said. Look behind Donovan Wilson. You got Marcus Bell, who they talking about. Look behind Jordan.
Man, what's it got to do with the slot corner, Spoonie? I don't like it.
I'm just saying, PO got a point. He just
Deshaun Wright's having a strong camp.
Yeah.
He's having a strong camp. You're not wrong. He's had a strong camp, but he's not a slot guy. And look, be clear when we talk about AB. AB outside all day. AB in the slot, I don't want no parts of it. That's all I'm saying. Like, we got to, for me personally, I ain't speaking for nobody else, just me personally. I'm just saying, we're finally set in the secondary. It's taken us so long, the Maurice Claibornes of the world, and everything we went through. I ain't trying to get rid of none of that next year. Me personally. Look, and you're right. Look, O's not wrong. I'm not saying he's wrong. And Spoonie, I hear look, Spoonie's cheesing too much right now about the idea of what they can do in here. I don't like it. Send the 4th round pick for Chenault. Send the 4th. No, guess what? I'll send a 3rd.
No,
for what I would send a 3rd because of the money that's tied to him, and you get the control. I would send a 3rd I would send a 3rd before I would send Lewis, is what I'm saying. Okay. Not just a 3rd on GP. Right. I'm saying if it's Lewis or a 3rd, I would send a 3rd instead of Lewis. Personally.
Get that comp pick back, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I actually ask you guys a question. So because I like the Laviska Shenault talk right now. So tomorrow's Hall of Fame game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Raiders, right? Mm-hmm. Now Laviska is buried on the depth chart. Would you guys feel if he's not suited up tomorrow or not playing, it could be something in the works, maybe? Or it's no big deal.
No, it's the first. I wouldn't buy too much into it. I'll be quick. I wouldn't buy too much into it just because teams are very careful in preseason, especially because if the player has any nagging injury at all, there's just no point of pushing them right now. And every roster has 9 or 10 wide receivers anyways. So if he didn't suit up the entire preseason and there were no injury issues, or 2 weeks in a row and there was no injury concerns, maybe, but especially the first game and it being the Hall of Fame game, which is basically the exact same thing. Teams have never played starters or even
at all
high-end players at all in the Hall of Fame game. Facts. So
wouldn't read too. I completely agree. Whereas
next week, maybe
it's a Hall of Fame. Right. Next week. Sorry. Oh, so well, you're so full of surprises. With that being said, I guess that'll wrap up our news and notes. We kind of went a little left, but I mean the questions happen. Amen. And we're about interacting with y'all, so it's okay. And unfortunately, Mom, I'm sorry. I was talking about the streaking. You were here. I appreciate you letting me know not to streak, but I can't be held accountable. If we had Sue and Chenault, no bets are off. And I also like our guy Haley said, can we place bets on how long before I get winded? Yes, we can, because I know how far I can go. And actually, I've been in the gym pretty heavy the past month and a half, and I've dropped about 35 pounds. So I think I can go further than I did against Lamb for what it's worth when I went streaking then. Neither here nor there in that moment. But Tonight we are going to unveil, it's Pick Six Sports. We have a 6-pack of questions of buy or sell. So we're going to get to those real quick. And before I get there, producer Jay, who sets up all the loveliness for us and hooks us up, right there, she, as y'all see my name, everybody else is their Twitter handle. She hits me with something every once in a while. I left this one up tonight. Nick says, watch Last Scare Pod. Go over to GVN, find it, YouTube, find it, Twitter. That's my daughter. She does a horror podcast, and producer Jay hooks us up. Yeah, go follow her as well, and show us some love. And Cheese was a Cheese Stick Bandit, I think, is what her Twitter name is. I can't keep up with it no more.
Yeah.
But with that being said, let's get to this buy and sell, guys. We got this buy and sell on deck. So let's get to these 6. And of course, I had them, but let me get them real quick. Okay, so let's go number 1. This one here, man. This has been a hot one on Spaces here lately. Are you buying or selling the Cowboys starting kicker is currently on the roster? Professor O, are you buying or selling?
I'm selling. I don't believe in either one of these two guys. I don't believe in them. I don't think they're going to be. I think they're going to go after another kicker. I don't know who it is. Don't ask me the kickers that are available out there. But there's got to be somebody that you can bring in who's kicked in NFL games that you can feel more confident. Garibay, which I know is Spoonie's guy, he was all about him, and I was excited about him. I saw his Texas Tech clips. I'm like, okay, maybe we have a kicker. We saw what a 5th-round pick kicker was able to do for the Bengals last year, so I was excited. But he's 59% from field goal in training camp.
It's true. Yeah.
And how about Lirim, right? So we know about Garibay. Lirim, 62% from field goal. I'm just telling you now, that's not good enough. It's just not. I don't care about the wind. I don't care if there were snap issues. You have 2 kickers that cannot kick over 70% at training camp. Can't imagine that when the lights come on and there's tens of thousands of fans yelling, it's going to get any better. We'll see, but right now I am selling this as quick as I can. Selling it.
Hey, look, my guy said, go get our guy, Kai Forbeth, Mr. Cobra Kai, Mr. Sweep the Leg. Yeah, man. Where's he at? Spoonie, are you buying or selling that the opening day kicker is on the roster? Hold on, wait. I don't know who's going to go here. Let me.
P.O.'s not wrong. I'm selling.
Cool. Selling.
He's not wrong. I'm selling. Listen, from the last night in the space, as I said before, Jerry, I know you're a great salesman, but you can't sell it to us fans about how windy it was. If anything, that's the best time for a kicker to show off his talents. It's the element. We coming to New York week 3, right? New York weather gets kind of windy at that time. You got to excuse when you miss a winning field goal. No, it's not. Or extra point. No, it's not. We played Green Bay in the playoff. Would that be an excuse? No, it wouldn't be. So, listen, I'm with P.O. I'm selling. I hate to say it. Did Cameron Digger get drafted from Texas? Did he go anywhere?
Yeah, he's somewhere. Don't ask me, but yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, hold on. It says, my daughter's getting married today. I'm going crazy. Man, shout outs for the marriage there, Steve. Yeah, congratulations,
God bless you,
man.
God bless you.
Yeah. You got a son-in-law. For better or worse, you said you're going crazy, so I don't know. But for better or worse, you got a son-in-law now, my guy. Man, I'm selling the hell out of this because I was indifferent. I'm like, okay, give him some time. Let's see what's going on. And then the spin came in. And whenever the spin starts coming in from the upper echelon of the brass, my ears, my antennas go up. All of a sudden, look, as many camps have we looked at and covered, have we ever heard about the wind issue in anybody kicking in your training camp? Ever? Have we ever heard a report at all about that? None that I can remember. And then magically, they know it's been bad. So like, well, it was windy. And then Jerry was actually, man, we just want to see him kick some shorter kicks and like the extra points and those kinds of things. So, I was privy before those comments came out. I was like, I'm going to buy it still for now. A little, but now, no, I'm selling the hell out of it. Once I start hearing the spin come in, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. We're talking about win. We're talking about shorter kicks. We're talking about extra points now and stuff like that. So yeah, it's y'all know the drill. Hashtag special teams matter. And we lost 2 games last year. We just got to be honest about it. We had 2 games that were very much affected by the kicking game with the opening week against the Bucks and of course Thanksgiving against the Raiders. So you just can't have those things happen, and you have to nail this. They played chicken a little bit, thinking they were going to get Greg the leg back, and guess what? He got scooped up by the Jets, and now here we are. They have to go and do something, though. In my opinion, I'm with you. I'm with you guys. I don't think the guys on the roster currently. With that being said, Josh, Bailey's done. Let's be clear. Bailey's not the answer. I wish he never fell off the wagon, and it would be great. It would be a great redemption story, but Bailey's not the guy, in my opinion, guys. Bailey for y'all. Would y'all? I mean, I guess you could bring him in. Would you bring him in at this point?
You can bring him in, but I don't think it's going to work. If anything, I will wait for a roster cut. I was looking at the Rams depth chart, and they got 2 kickers. They got Cameron Dick, and they have Matt Gay, who was their starting kicker last year. So I'm hoping that Cameron Dick from Texas gets released, and maybe bring him in for a workout and see what he can provide for us.
Got you. For you, would you bring Dan Bailey in, Matt?
I would bring in like 5 or 6 vet kickers for tryouts and just let all of them kick and sign the best one to bring to camp and have a 3-man and then just cut from there. That's what my strategy would be. And what's concerning to me too, in addition to what we talked about where it was mechanical issues and it was wind issues, yesterday the reports were wide right, off the upright, wide left, short. Meaning they're not even a thing that you can coach out of it saying, oh, you just got to slightly move your plant leg because you're missing right every time. They're all over the place. And we haven't had a single day yet where a kicker made, and they're not kicking like 50 field goals. You're talking about like 8 or 7 or something.
Right.
And there's not been a day yet that either kicker was 100%. I know kicking's hard, but again, you're not really getting rushed in training camp. You don't have guys on the other side diving to try to knock the kick down.
Right.
You got to make those. It's like being in basketball and having a free throw attempt. If you're a high-level kicker, like you should be able to consistently make those, at least at practice and training camp. Mm-hmm. Maybe you'll have an off day here and there, and if it was one off day, we would be like, cool, whatever. But when you have a kicker who's 59%, 62%, yeah, I'm bringing like 5 kickers in for a tryout and letting them all kick and just signing the best one and seeing how it goes.
Hey, Robert, I mean, Nigel, he was wiry, very wiry. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, at this point, I might bring him in, too. Question number 2, would you kind of talk about this a little bit? but we'll man, the GOAT, Jeff Heath, put some respect.
I would bring Jeff Heath back. I would let him try out. Why not?
Thanks. The Cowboys will sign/trade for a vet wide receiver before week 1. I think we all kind of answered that a little bit earlier. Anybody want to expound on that? I know we kind of jumped and put it ahead of the horse ahead of the cart ahead of the horse there a little bit, but I think we all believe that, right?
Yeah, well, I want to see what the chat thinks too, but yeah, I'm definitely buying that one. Definitely.
How about the chat? Can everybody in the chat list a wide receiver? And again, not no Debo Samuel, those guys. A wide receiver that you would want the Cowboys to trade for,
or sign, either one.
So look, Steph Curry might miss free throws. He ain't shooting 59% from the free throw line. I mean, let's just be clear.
Yeah,
like
that's bad.
The kicker has to be better. Like he can miss some kicks, that's okay. But 59% is not getting it done, though. We just have to be honest in that realm. This guy's CC's not going to get off the Jordy Nelson. My goodness. Yeah, Jordy's done. He's enjoying his life. Oh Lord. T.O. We had somebody else in the space the other night talking about T.O. I think it was my guy Steve Wild. Yeah, Steve. Boom.
Odell Beckham kind of started the Des Bryant conversation again.
Yeah.
Because somebody tagged Odell Beckham. It was Cam Magruder's. I'm just working out, getting in shape. And then he retweeted Des saying, Des, they need you. I'm kind of surprised with the names out there. I'm not saying I disagree with them. I just thought for sure somebody would have said Cole Beasley by now. I thought for sure it would have popped back up.
That man said Diggs for Diggs trade. Or you just say Diggs was a 5-star recruit and just put him on, offense. You feel me? Brandon Cooks, another guy there. One. I like Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is really good in this league. I don't think they're going to get rid of him, but yeah, sure. Sign for Brandon Cooks. Yeah, man.
Van Jefferson just had an injury, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Me? Oh, wow.
A team that I would look at, though, that was the name right there. T-Todd just mentioned it. Nicole Hardman was the name I was going to mention.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
If you think about what the Chiefs did this offseason, we know that Kelsey's a huge part of what they do. They drafted Sky Moore. They signed Marcus Valdez-Scantling, and they also signed Juju. So the wide receiver room's getting kind of deep there. That might be a team you could swing a 4th or 5th round pick potentially and get a guy like Mecole Hardman, who also can be a return man. So if you get him, maybe Turpin's spot's not safe, or maybe he still is. Either way, but you have a dual threat that you can use in a plethora of ways. So Hardman and Laviska would be great fits for the Cowboys.
10-4. And it says no worse because we got Vasher, and I'll say it again, Pollard. But they actually talked about Pollard, right? And what was brought up was he's not going to run fly routes like 9 routes and stuff. You're not going to throw the ball deep to him. And there was a weird dichotomy of people talking about that. So Pollard is a receiver. I mean, maybe in the slot and running some things, okay. But yeah, I mean, overall, you want to get him the ball and get him in space. But as far as a prototypical wide receiver, I just don't know how viable in the slot he'll be. But to wait and see. Hopefully, he does get the more touches for sure. No ifs or buts. T. Higgins, yeah. Todd bringing up Slayton. We kind of brought up Slayton a little bit earlier. That's a name to really keep your eye on up there in New York, and we kind of see what happens.
I think somebody dropped it. TC915 with Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones makes sense too because our wide receiver coach coached him in Detroit. So there's some familiarity there.
Yeah, and I like Marvin Jones. I like what he brings to the table. I think we fit very well with that. We talked about Preston Williams a little earlier as well. Miami, maybe he's an odd man out, big body, make you do that. Mims, once again, high draft pick up there with the Jets. That's a guy that you might look at. So I'm again back to the buy or sell here. It's more of, to me anyways, I'm leaning more towards the trade aspect from the Cowboys now than what's available in free agency. But let's just wait and see. I don't think it's going to. I'm going to say I don't think it's going to happen until they play at least one preseason game. And then after that, maybe I do believe in this state that how they've been very adamant about giving the young guys a chance at wide receiver. I think they'll see it through. Now, something could change Atlanta their life where there's, okay, we can't pass on this perhaps. But I think right now, and a lot of teams want to see guys first a little bit before they want to start moving people. So to me, I think we get to the first preseason game and then we'll kind of come back around and see where we're at and where it lays. All right. So staying with the wide receiver position, are you buying or selling Dennis Houston making the final roster? Spoonie?
Yeah, I'm buying. I think he's doing a lot. He's getting attention from the coaching staff. Mike McCarthy, we spoke about him. He's making waves. This has been the conversation since minicamp, and and now we're definitely seeing. He was running with the first team. He beat Anthony Brown for a touchdown. That was cool. But he's really making the headlines over there in training camp. So, and a lot of great content creators who's out there. They've been preaching it to us the whole time. Yo, this guy is really doing his thing. So I think he makes the squad.
Professor O, Houston making the squad for you, sir, as you're pounding that pale ale?
So last week I would have said no. They're just trying different players out in different positions, but we've heard a lot. Like CeeDee Lamb specifically name dropped him. Kellen Moore specifically name dropped him. Mike McCarthy specifically talked about him. Dax talked about him. Like there's buzz there. So when you're looking at him though, the question is, where does he fit, right? We know about number one. Obviously, we have CeeDee Lamb. We have the Lamb. We're good there. Then you have Tolbert. You have guys like Vasher, Simi, Noah. That's kind of the group of guys that I think he would have to beat one of them out. But yeah, in terms of being a guy who's a route runner, if you pay attention to camp and don't just pay attention to what somebody does one day, pay attention to what they do over a series of days. He's running with the ones a lot. When he's doing that, CD's sliding to the inside and playing slot, and he's playing X, which is interesting, especially knowing that Gallup's out and Gallup is our X. So I think he has a role. Whether he's wide receiver 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, but I'm buying. Yeah, I think he'll make the roster.
Could he be Miles Austin reincarnated, guys? I think at a certain point, look, obviously, if it was the fact that the players are talking about him, I think is what moves the needle for me. As you mentioned, whether it's Lamb, whether it's Dak, like the guys that are talking about him, that's what moves the needle for me too. And currently in how this thing is built, these guys are going to have to make it. Somebody, I mean, they have to at this point. So yeah, currently right now, I'm buying. I'm buying that he makes. I think I'm buying that he makes it. Let's get to the next one. Okay, are you buying or selling Will Grier will replace Cooper Rush as the backup? I'm going to take this one because I've been pretty high on this. So I'm going to go first this round. Yeah, I'm buying because he's had a great camp so far. And a lot of the passes where you're not seeing who's throwing the rock, like the Vasher great catch and everything, that's him throwing the rock. He's been very strong. To the people that we've talked to and got through, Will Greer's having a really, really good camp. I think he's going to replace Cooper Rush. I'm buying Greer as the number 2 on this roster. You have to think they traded for him last year, or signed him up last year, and they've kept him all the way around to this year for that main competition. I think he's walking through the door. I think he's younger. The arm talent's there. He's a little bit more mobile, a la Dak Prescott. He lines up to be a better backup because you don't have to change the offense so much with what he's able to do. That's weird.
It's storming here. I don't know if you hear thunder.
Yeah, I was like, oh, the thunder's coming. I'm bringing the thunder is what's happening right now when I'm talking about Will Greer.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm buying Will Greer replacing. Professor O, are you buying Will Greer, or are they going to just, it's rush hour? They're just going to stick with old Rush?
All right, so
incumbent.
If you've paid attention to our show, you would know Nix has been pushing this train. He's been driving this train. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to get on board. I think they like Cooper Rush. They feel confident. He got his opportunity last year against the Vikings, stepped up in a primetime game, did enough to win, had a game-winning drive. That's where I was going. I know he doesn't have a huge arm. He's a bus driver, but he's a guy I think you can win a game with, as we saw last year. Then I saw a video of him posted by the Cowboys today where they were asking all the players on the team, or a handful of players, what would you do had you won the jackpot and won the $1.3 billion mega ball? Yeah. And they show Will Greer, and he has this glorious beard. Then all of a sudden the gears in my head start going off, and I understand why Nix likes him so much. No, but in all reality, I'm actually buying this one. I was selling a week ago. I'm buying it now because his arm is better than Cooper Rush. He's more mobile than Cooper Rush. And I think he allows you to replicate your offense closely enough that you don't have to completely change things like you had to last year with Cooper Rush. Again, I think if you have a one-game injury or something and you need a Cooper Rush, that's okay. But if it's multiple weeks, you're better off with a Will Greer who fits your offense and can do more Dak-like things than Cooper Rush can. Obviously, I'm not saying he's Dak, of course, but I think his athleticism and ability is closer of a match. It makes it easier for your offensive coordinator not to have to completely change your schemes from a schematic standpoint just for a small handful of games. So, yeah, I'm actually buying that one.
Spoonie, you buying or selling Greer replacing Rush?
I bought it since last year. I bought it since last year. Listen, don't get me wrong. We was all grateful with the Minnesota game from Cooper Rush, but listen, ever since that game, listen, I've been on. Don't like his arm strength. Every throw just got his. It got me scared a little bit. Listen, Will Greer's been having a good camp so far. He was signed mid-through last year. Of course, they sat him out, because they went on the playbook. But a lot of these highlights and throws, they're showing the receivers catching it, but not showing enough the quarterbacks are the ones which quarterback is actually throwing the ball. And he has some good throwing. And the one thing we all have said that it's about time for us to recognize what good gem we have at receiver when you have a solid backup quarterback. When you have a solid backup quarterback, you get to recognize the players who are part of the 2s and the 3s who could definitely catch an eye with doing something. So I'm excited for Will Greer, and I'm buying it again. Buying. Yeah.
Those training camp moments matter, though. When you look at that TJ Vasher catch, there was the talk of Cowboys Nation last week. Who threw that pass?
Will Greer.
Will Greer.
Yeah.
What highlights have you seen? And I know it's camp highlights, but what camp highlight have you seen of Cooper Rush leading them in a 2-minute drill or a mojo moment? We haven't seen it. What big play from a receiver have you seen where you're like, Cooper Rush did it? We just haven't seen it. So things like that start getting buzz, and when the team and players start buying into you, like we're seeing with Dennis Houston, that matters in the organization. So, yeah, I was out last week, but I'm buying this week. So,
and, that was my question. If y'all missed the Freestyle Friday show and you're here, dial it up. We had Kyle Yeomans on here as a guest, and I asked him the question about the backup quarterback. And I mean, he said he has been better than Rush at camp so far. So it's not that Will hasn't beat out Rush at all. I don't really know where you're going with that with Gregory, but he's had a better camp so far than Cooper Rush. That's just kind of where it is. And my guy Parker, thank you. I've talked about this a ton. Look, I like Nucci, man. I like him. I don't like his hats though. I'm not a fan of the hats, but hey, if y'all like them, hey, go for it. But yeah, trash hats, I don't go that far. I just say they're not for me. That's where I'm at. I like this next buy or sell. This is going to be good. We talked about this is when we teased in the space, and me and Spoon to give our answers, but we let the space get off on this. Are you buying or selling that Dalton Schultz will get 1,000 yards receiving this year, Professor O?
I am 100% buying that one. I think Dalton Schultz is poised for a huge year. We already know that the team has mentioned multiple times they want to play 12 personnel. We know that our wide receiver room is in flux, even if we trade for somebody, because at some point you're going to get Gallup back. Is that week 4, week 8? Who knows? We'll see. So the split in the wide receiver room is going to drop. I think Schultz is going to have a huge year. I know that fans may not love him because he's not like a Kittle or a Kelsey, but you don't have to be like, don't cringe when I give you this example. But Jason Witten was never a guy that was like routing people up and, torching defenses with seam routes. Jason Witten was a guy that found the soft spot in the zone and converted first downs and was reliable. I think Schultz can be that guy in this offense. I know Dak trusts him. Not only does Dak trust him, Dak loves him. Loves him. Nick's got an inbox from somebody very close to the organization who said when Jarwin was still a member of the team saying, nope, Jarwin's definitely gone. Schultz is Dak's guy. And we heard from Stephen Jones a week ago saying, no, we weren't able to work out the contract, but we want to see Schultz under contract with this team for multiple years. They want him back. And when you're starting to hear that from Stephen Jones, Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, Dak Prescott, like it matters. And if you see him so far in camp, the mojo moment, play of the game, 2-minute drill, there was 2 seconds left, down by 4. Who did Dak target in the end zone? Dalton Schultz. CeeDee Lamb was open too, but he hit Schultz. Dak likes him. So yeah, and especially in a 17-game season, I am buying the hell out of this. I think Schultz probably will hit somewhere maybe just barely above 1,000 yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns. He's going to be a big part of our offense.
Spooning, we saved our answer till here. Are you buying or selling the 1K for Schultz?
I'm buying all the way.
Okay.
All the way. Okay. I mean, listen. Dalton Schultz was one of the guys that, right after the Jason Garrett season, when we found out Jones out for the year, oh my God, he's the starting tight end. It's going to be bad. And this kid just came out and just shut everybody up. And did it the first year, went for 6 and change. Then he went for 800 and change last season. That's Dak's boy. That's one of his BFFs on this team. And I don't see anything changing. We all said Professor O has been explained that the whole time with the offense they're gonna with the top offense they're gonna run, with Schultz being that feature, he's the number 2 guy behind CeeDee Lamb. Let's just be honest. There's no other way around that. And he's gonna be paid. He's gonna make that top 10 list of tight ends after this season.
I think he's already.
I should have
there.
mentioned too, real quick too. When you look at the tight ends on our roster, Jeremy Sprinkle missed practice. He's having Achilles flare-ups. Now, I've torn my Achilles in the past. I don't know what an Achilles flare-up means. If anybody here is medically inclined and knows what that means. It doesn't sound good, though, because I know that Achilles is a major part of playing a tight end. And then Ferguson has gotten good buzz, but also has an injury right now, too. So that tight end room already is starting to see some injuries pile up. So knowing we're going to play 12 personnel a lot, knowing that Dak loves him, he's going to have a big year.
Hey, man, bring Dez back to play tight end.
How about Noah Brown, right? And Noah Brown was our light end like 5 years ago.
Look, I think it's happening. I've talked about it a ton in the spaces and everything that, we were so concerned about the wide receiver room and what was going on. And we're just like, look, man, he's going to be the number 2 target, especially until Gallup gets back. And then even when Gallup gets back, he's still probably the number 2 target. You go the year they had to come in for Jarwin, for instance, and it was a quarterback carousel, right? Dak got hurt, the whole 9. I mean, it was 63 catches, 615 yards, 9.8 average per catch. Then you go to last year where you had the full complement of the Coopers of the world and everything was going on. It turned up, but Dak the whole year said one game. It's 78 catches, 808 yards, 10.4 average, and 8 touchdowns. I think Dak's about to get him paid. I think that's just where it's at. I'm buying the 1K yards. I think it's going to be close to 100 catches. That's what it's going to take to get him there. Probably 90 catches plus at the 10.4 clip to get him there, and he's probably in the 8 to 10. He had 8 touchdowns last year. It might be a 10 touchdown year from 8 to 10 maybe. So yeah, I'm buying. I think this is where it is. Luckily for the Cowboys, if they want to tag him again, it's under 14 million, like 13.9 if they want to do that. But yeah, if he has the year that I think it's going to happen, and back to what you said, Spoonie, as well, is Dak likes him, and we understand that. And the quarterbacks in general, they like tight ends. This isn't like on Dak. Like, quarterbacks like tight ends. That's the security blanket, right? So our history in Cowboys land, we've seen our quarterbacks tied to tight ends and matter. And I think Schultz just matters in that way. Yeah, I understand some of the trepidation with people that he's not Kittle, he's not Kelsey, he's not Pitts, whatever the case may be, just in that realm athletically, but he gets the job done. He's blocking better in this camp, and that's really probably the biggest gripe that I would have with him. I need to block better. But again, I don't need Kellen Moore putting him one-on-one with Chandler Jones. I don't care what tight end you put one-on-one with Chandler Jones. It's a disadvantage. So in the scheme, he needs to be put in positions to win in the blocking. But yeah, I just don't. To me, and we look at the lay of the land and how this team is currently constituted, yeah, I think 1,000 yards is going down for Schultz this year. My man's about to get the bag, So
I'm proud of the chat, by the way. I saw a lot of buys. I thought that question we were going to get people selling because of the weight of what Dalton Schultz's name is on the community.
Right.
But I'm proud of you guys for recognizing, if you look at the lay of the land, look at the receivers we have, look at the guys coming off of injury or young, it just makes sense. Like, he's going to get volume this year. He got volume last year, and now you don't have a Cooper. So his volume, if all things are equal, he's going to see an uptick at that. And again, that's good for us, because worst case scenario, and he walks next year, he's going to get paid if he puts up top 5 numbers. You're going to get a high third, or not a high, it'll be a late third, but you're going to get a third round comp pick out of it. And if you do want to bring him back, like Nick's mentioned, you can get him back under market value at $13.9 million. So either way, it's in our best interest for that to happen.
Right. And to wrap up the 6-pack here of the buy or sell, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, and we'll spin the wheel here. Does Damone Clark play this season? Are you buying or selling that Clark will play this season at linebacker for the Cowboys? Oh, Art Spoon. Go ahead, Spoon.
No, you said play a linebacker?
Yeah, is he going to play? Well, is he going to play this season? Forget. I mean, it will he play this season? How about that?
Yeah, he'll play this season.
Okay. Do you think Clark plays this season at all?
I'm selling it. I'd like to see him play, but again, they may go that route depending on what happens with Layden and Barr, like we mentioned earlier. But I'm selling. I think the linebacker room has enough pieces now that Barr's added where they don't have to play him. I think I would have bought it before the Barr signing, but now that we've signed Barr, I'm going to sell.
Yeah, some of me, just a smidge. I go back to a guy that we got from Minnesota in Everson Griffin and how that panned out. Not to say that Barr's going to be that guy, but some of me a little trepidation because we got a guy. We're like, and we were excited. We got this guy to come in here. It just didn't work, and then boom, he was up out of here. So there's some trepidation when it comes to Barr in that stretch for me. But I just look at the lay again, looking at the depth chart now, but at getting Barr in here with LVE, I would like to see him play. But going back to how the Cowboys have handled injuries and being extra cautious here underneath this coaching staff, I'm going to sell. I don't think we see him this year. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next year. That's kind of where I'm at with it at this point. So, yes, we are. So, yeah, that's that'll wrap up the buy or sell 6-pack this week for training camp and some of these questions that we're seeing and what's going on. But we do want to cover some things because there were some press conferences, some talks, some different things. So we got some clips that we're going to do some reaction to and get, y'all let us know what's going on and we go from there. So we definitely got some videos in some of these comments that happened today. You got it set up and ready to rock, or do I need to add it yet?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, cool. Well, I will add it to the stream. There it is.
You see Dan Quinn? Is it up?
Yeah. I see him all day, every day.
All right, cool. Hopefully the audio is sharing. We'll test it out. Ready?
Yeah, let me hit it.
Is it working?
Nothing can stop it. I mean, we got here we go. We're getting there.
It's great. Okay.
It's buffering.
All right.
It's buffering. It's going to happen. I believe. I believe in a thing called love.
I hope it's not this storm. All right, we'll try it one more time.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are. Like we hear it. I'm like, I hope I was gonna be okay with all the thunder and the lightning and everything that's going on in the background.
All right, let's try a different one.
Fair.
We'll try this one. This is Kellen Moore talking about Tony Pollard's usage. Oh, now the other one's playing. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Press them buttons, though. I believe in you. I had that full screen on it too, so everybody can see it a little bit better.
I think it's doing it when I'm full screening it. All right, let me not do that. Sorry, guys. This is our first time trying this year.
Yeah. It is. Oh, TC, the man said, "Is that dial up?" He said,
"It's not dial up." I don't know what's happening.
America Online, top chat over there. I don't know what that's all about. What you got on that top? What is? I don't know what's going on.
It's doing it the same spot. Like it's playing like the first 3 seconds of buffering. All right, this might not work. We'll try it again.
It might not.
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you what I will do. How about this? Look, it's live stream. Things happen. Say less. You know what I can do? I can just play them off my phone, and I can just give them the audio. No worries. It could be a lot of what you got going over there because I hear that storm in the background. I'm like, oh, I don't want you to die. I'm like, if something was to happen during the show, I'm like, oh my God. Let me get to this clip because we actually shared these within the group chat, so I can do it that way. I think you hit me with the clips immediately, if I'm not mistaken. So I can just play them audibly through here. Oh, TC, people do care what Moore has to say. You hush it. Of course, now I got to wait through all the ads so I can get these skips though. Boom. Of course, this is live. This ain't the clip that you sent me, I don't think. So there we are. So neither here nor there. Wait, there we go. Dan Quinn. Let me try the Dan Quinn clip here. Let me see if I can get that rolling. There we go.
You mentioned finding each player's superpowers and finding what's unique. That said, when you think about what linebackers work well in your system and what you're looking for, what do you want from linebackers in today's scheme?
Yep. I think, and you're probably going back to how we do the first part of the evaluation, I think the traits of speed and length, from a physical stature, that's a big part of it because we do play a good bit of man or like man defenses. So could this player guard a tight end, who's got, 6'4", 6'5", and speed to get long? And, think of the guy who has to, guard our backs out of the backfield. Sometimes that may be a different player based on a running back who's, 5'10" and 200 who can really change direction compared to the 6'5" tight end. It may not be the same player. So you want to find people with that length who can do that and the speed to guard guys. And then at linebacker, tackling. That's the name of the game. Can you play square and strong and tackle? And
boom. So talk about the linebackers that line up in there. Hopefully, y'all can hear all of that. If you couldn't, message me or hit the message and say you couldn't. But the question was about the linebackers, and he was talking about the different measurables and what it means. You heard that from Dan Quinn. What do you think?
Yeah. So if you couldn't hear Jory's question, shout out to Jory Epstein. Used to be with the Cowboys. Now she's with the Bucks. So maybe we'll hit her up. Maybe she'll join us for week 1. We'll have to work on that in the back end. But she was asking about Dan Quinn and his ability to find people's superhero abilities, like looking for ways that guys fit on your roster. And he kind of went in depth after that saying, you want to see it on film. maybe they didn't make the play, but you could see that they saw the play and reacted to it. And then you see the combine and you can see the athleticism to go with that ability to read and react. So he said, depending on what you're wanting to do in your system, you're looking for a different profile, a different size. So he mentioned specifically in the example of if you're going against a running back who's smaller, maybe you don't want a guy who's 6'5", 225 pounds covering them. Maybe that's not J-Ron Curse's strength. So what he's trying to do as a defensive coordinator is to say, where does J-Ron have the biggest value to our team? And that's obviously lining up against tight ends and being a tight end eraser. So his entire philosophy as a defensive coordinator is not to put J-Ron in a situation that's not going to benefit him and the team. He's going to put him in matchups as often as possible that work in our best interest. So that's why I like that clip, because it's just him reiterating what we already know about Dan Quinn is he's finding what your strengths are and doing everything he can to maximize that.
10-4. And right. So, man, putting players in positions to succeed. But another concept as a coach. If we just maybe a little bit there on the offensive side of the ball. I would do the rest of the clips, but I don't think the volume is really that way. So we're going to spin on the fly here as we're live. And we're just going to talk about camp here as we get up out of here. Oh, I hear a lot of storming going over there. Do you need to take cover real quick? Just to be sure, do we need to wrap so you can kind of take care of some things? It sounds pretty bad that way.
I'm good. If you guys see me spin off, it's been real. Appreciate it. No,
okay.
It's just, it seems like it's dying down now. We're good.
Okay. You said hell and different things. I'm like, oh, yo, maybe it's getting a little serious. Maybe my guy needs to go tuck. You know, remember back in the schools, get underneath your desk, get in the hallway and cover yourself. I don't know. Just want to make sure everything's good that way. So let's just kind of get to the padded practice. Let's kind of go that realm. We've seen, look, Simi, Kyle brought it up on Friday, how Simi's been well. We got to the padded practice back to back. Simi's done well. I don't think it's been talked about enough because I think at times people just kind of soured on Simi Fioku at the wide receiver position. He's having a strong camp, and I don't think it's getting talked about enough. Spoon, Simi and the camp that he's having so far.
I mean, listen, I was excited when we drafted Simi last year, and when it comes when you see your own like Amari Cooper, he's not there no more. All right, we see Michael Gallup, he's out right now because of injury. There's an opportunity for you to step up, opportunity for you to get in there and secure a spot. Right? It's crazy how Noah Brown has been from the wide receiver standpoint has been the longest tenure there, and he's still in the same spot. You understand? So when it was Simi, he was drafted. It wasn't like you're undrafted. No, they drafted you. You was part of that drafted roster. So this is the time for you to showcase your talent. You're a big guy. You got hands. You're fast for your size. Listen, this is the opportunity. You got to take it. You can't just give it to you. And the bad part is that when don't get me wrong. Just because you're undrafted, it could be a hit or miss. It happens. But when you're drafted, listen, that's for you to open up that door, hit that door wide open, and run with it. He has to win his job. But I'm loving what Kyle Yeomans when he came in last week, because he was giving a lot of backers about Simi Fioku, but he straightened it out. He came out and said, when I asked him about the stock up and down, Simi's up. Simi is up, and that's the one thing. It's very easy to judge on Twitter or social media when you see video clips, but when you get somebody who's there and they can be able to tell it, great thing.
Simi and the camp that he's having so far, are you impressed?
I don't want to say that I'm not impressed.
Okay.
I think he's better this year in camp than he was last year, so he has been working. The people there, the boots on the ground, like you just mentioned, Kyle Yeomans, but he's not the only person. Bobby Belt brought him up too. He's having a better camp than last year. Is his camp good enough to secure a roster spot? I don't know, because now Dennis Houston's camp is trending up. Simi did have a really nice catch on a contested play Tuesday at practice. So, because today they didn't really do anything except for their walkthrough. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, he has this size and speed profile, and you want to see it put together. I don't think he's there yet. I think he's a guy that if you could practice squad him, you would go that route. I don't know that he would last on the practice squad. Somebody else may take a flyer on him. But I do want to caution people when you say he's trash or just a special teams player. We heard the same thing about Jaron Curse, just a special teams guy.
Yeah.
He's not really a starter. We've heard the same thing about Anthony Brown for years. He's trash. He's not that good. Sometimes players do develop over time. That's what you trust your coaching staff to do, and we have a good coaching staff right now. Maybe not every position, but a lot of our coaches are really good. So
Enough.
I'm not fully selling him, but I'm also not buying that he's having a good enough camp to make a roster spot, because I definitely think if the Cowboys say Simi or Noah, they're going to take Noah. And I think as of today, if it's Houston or Simi, they're going to take Houston. So if they keep 6 receivers and then it's Simi, Vasher, I think that's where the conversation really starts becoming interesting, because Vasher, big, tall, length, could be this great red zone jump ball guy, but can he play special teams? Can he run routes good enough? Like there's enough questions there, even though we see highlight reel plays. He also still is having issues with contested catches. He's still not running great routes.
Oh, shit. Damn it. Well, I accidentally kicked Professor O because I was trying to get rid of the thing. Oh, man. But look. Eventually you hit some hiccups. Hiccups. Oh, man. I didn't know I was going to do that. But, yeah, Simi, going to be interesting. Right. There he is. He came right back. It's been fun tonight. I was trying to look. You were a little choppy on my end. I was like, let me just get his screen share out of here, and I didn't know I was going to kick you as well. My fault. My faux pas.
Okay. Yeah, it took me to the back end, but yeah. So basically, I'm saying it may be a different conversation if the battle becomes Simi versus Vasher, because Vasher probably isn't the special teams player Simi is, but Vasher offers more in the receiving game. Aside from that, I don't know. I don't know that he's had a good enough camp to make the team.
Okay, let me flip to the other side. And a guy by the name of Nashawn Wright's having a pretty strong camp thus far. Man, is he making a push? Like, what do you like in here? I mean, he's getting turnovers, he's getting some breakups. Nothing's perfect, but he's had a very strong camp. Last year when we talked about Nashawn, like he was kind of the buzz from the rookie mini camps and the OTAs before they got to Oxnard. They got to Oxnard, and then he kind of came back to earth a little bit. This year, been grinding, not really on social media, and now at camp so far, he's putting together a really good camp. Excited more about him than Simi and how we kind of talked. Do you think there's an opportunity for him to kind of walk through the door here, Spoon?
Yeah, I'm very excited about Nashawn. Right, listen, size and speed, you can't teach that. But he's having a very good camp, and he knows. Of course, we spoke to Mama, right? We all know that the 2 spot is definitely open. It's definitely wide open for the best guy. We know Anthony Brown may win it. He still get out of the field, and then here comes next year whenever they decide to let Anthony Brown walk. Bam. So I'm buying it. I'm buying him.
Yeah. How you feel about Nashawn Wright and the camp he's putting together so far, O?
I think his roster spot's 100% secure. I think he's having a better camp. I don't know if I should say much better, but he's having a better camp than Kelvin Joseph. So he may be cornerback 4 on the roster right now. The challenge for Wright versus Kelvin is Kelvin could potentially play outside and inside. Wright is solely an outside guy. So for him to get snaps, he either needs an injury or needs to be used situationally, which they may do in the red zone. So I do think he's having a very good camp, and it's not just interceptions. He's like thrown right to him where he just uses size to do it. He's breaking on the ball. He had 2 near interceptions in red zone drills on Monday and Tuesday, and he had 1 last week on Friday. Same thing, where he's reading it well. I think he's at that second year mark. He's just starting to see things differently. Mm-hmm. So, and that matters. So I definitely think he's cornerback 4 as of today.
Man, I'll tell you what, in one of the particular plays, he actually cut in front of Houston. Like he saw it, Reddick cut in front of him. He didn't secure the catch, but like the burst, and you saw when it back to the eyes of what you're saying there is you could tell he saw it and reacted and made the move. On the cusp of us going to camp, the one thing that I said was, no disrespect to Kelvin Joseph, whatever, I need Nashawn Wright. That's just where I'm at right now. I'm rooting for the human being with Kelvin Joseph. Whatever happens. But I need Nahshon Wright. That's the guy that I'm putting my eggs in the basket in for cornerback 4. And so far, I think it's mission accomplished. He's having a very good camp, and we're seeing the things exactly what you said. Though he's seeing it. It's not. Last year, I think it was a lot of reactions for him. This year, you can tell he's trusting his eyes. You're seeing him kind of jump some things. The interception he had on the back end, going left to right, again, saw it, read it, cut in front, and that's what I think about him is sometimes you have cornerbacks that are scared to take the chance to cut in front of the receiver. They just want to stay there, play the ball, play the body. He's so far in camp, he's shown the propensity of willing to jump the route. So I'm excited to see him once the these live reps happen in preseason games to see where he goes. But I'm excited about his progression from last year. I think he's taken where he was last year, and I think you can see the work early throughout camp and where he's headed. So that for me is very exciting about Nahshon Wright and where he's headed. And I'm with you. I think he's a lock. I really do, and I think he's probably cornerback 4 on this team. So,
well, I mean, when you hear high-profile people in our organization talking about Kelvin Joseph, who's the guy that should very easily be cornerback 4, in their verbiage is he's a dynamic special teams player. You're cornerback 4 because teams play a lot of nickel and they play a lot of dime in the NFL. They play way more of that than they play base defense. So your cornerback 4 should be getting reps, maybe not playing 50 or 60 snaps a game, but they should be getting 5 to 10, 15 snaps a game sprinkled in there when you're in dime formation. Right. The fact that they mention him as a dynamic special teams guy and reference him directly to CJ Goodwin makes it seem that's pretty clear what their plan is right now. So, yeah, I definitely think Wright has the leg up in terms of how the Cowboys staff feels at cornerback 4. Yeah,
and TC, you can go ahead and put Joseph down to 4 because it's going to be J. Lou at 3. And look, if Joseph can walk through the door and be 4, that's fine. But I'm there. I'm with Wright at the moment. But again, all these guys, let them go through and walk through the door and be great. But currently, it's Diggs, Brown, Lou, and then whatever flavor of ice cream you like behind that. Right now, I'm riding with Wright though. Tyler Badaz, which often criticized here last year on this channel. A lot of talk. Also, good camp. Having a great camp. Added some weight. Was wondering how it was going to look when the pads came on. Kind of walked through the door when the pads are coming on. How excited are you about Badaz's camp so far, Meadow?
I mean, he worked with Duke Manyweather, and there's kind of been jokes like Duke touches a player and they turn into gold. He has the Midas touch. Might be something to that because he looks like a different player this year. But to be fair to Tyler, last year, the first 8 weeks, I was 100% out on him. Actually, for the first game, I was like, nope, selling. Yeah. He's not our center. He got better as the season.
Literally, you inboxed me the day after the game. You're like, Knicks, we have a problem at center. I was like, yo, hold on. It's just the first game. You were like, no. I was like, well, let's give it a little while. Then about game 4, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, never mind. He's ass. Fair. Not ass, but he was just not doing what needs to be done.
He got better as the season went along, though, which maybe that's just a player maturing. That's the maturation process because he only played 4 games in his rookie year. So last year was really his first glimpse of being a full-time starter. And I think as you get reps, you start to feel more comfortable. Things start slowing down. I think some of these snapping issues last year, especially early on in the year when they were much more frequent, were just a young player who just kind of felt overwhelmed. I'm worried about blitz packages. I'm worried about stunts and things like that and not focusing on the snap. And I think as the season went along, he was like, oh, I've been there. I've done it. I know what's going to happen. So I would have liked to see us upgrade at center, but we didn't. We brought in some undrafted free agents. We have Farniok, who's now competing with him for that spot. But in camp, Tyler looks pretty good. So, yeah, props to him.
Yeah. And Linderbaum just not a good day the other day. He had some problem with the snaps with Cooper Rush, unfortunately. And that's my guy, but I mean, not good for him the other day. Spoonie, Tyler Badaz, aka the Badass. Are you buying what we're seeing so far in camp from him? He's going to walk through the door.
Yeah, I'm buying it. He had the leg up to start of camp. Listen, you've been here. Okay. We drafted you because not only you came from Wisconsin, where Travis Frederick came from. You have a cool nickname in Badass. But at the same time, we all know you can do this. Just, he didn't have a lot of starts, okay? but he had to lay over the other guys. And I'm buying what he's doing. There was somebody reported that they had a Wisconsin players thing, a ceremony, something like that, and they were saying that how lean he looked. He looked like very much in shape. And again, that's a good thing. You be in shape, but at the same time secure that spot. You listen. At the end of the day, you was bought in here. You was getting the starting position. It's yours. Just secure it. Show that you can work this, and that's it.
Yeah, that's Big Ten 4. What position or maybe player where you're like, hey, the padded practices finally happened, that you're like, okay, I'm starting to be concerned. Who's maybe a player or position I don't want to do position. We know swing tackle. We've talked about that. What player throughout this process, and we're like, well, let's see when the pads come on. Let's see what happens. The pads have came and went now. Is there a particular player you're like, I'm starting to get a little nervous about, Professor O? Do you have one?
It's
still early in camp. I know.
It's early, so honestly, nobody really jumps out. Like last year, at this stage, that was Jalen Smith. Like we saw it at camp before preseason. He just wasn't moving quickly. The chat said Steele, and I think Steele's probably the best answer.
Yeah,
the best answer so far, but he's kind of picked it up the last few days.
Yeah, once the pads came on, he seemed to pick it back up. Steele was definitely a concern before the pads. The pads came, and we saw a little bit of walkthrough, but that's fair. Steele's fair. He's not been great.
Yeah, my answer right now, which is weird because the people there are saying the opposite. The only player that really immediately jumps to mind is not Steele. Josh Ball does not look good to me. He doesn't. He's getting beaten a lot. But it's interesting because people at camp are saying the opposite. So I don't know if it's just the reps that they're choosing to show. But I know that Law Nation and Mark Holmes, shout out to both of them, had 11 on 11 where they were showing first, second, and third string, or first, second, and third team going against each other. And it was 15-minute clips or so each. He didn't look good. There were multiple clips where he whiffed on his block, got beaten by his block, was bulldozed backwards. He's the one player that I'm not impressed with in pads. It's got to be Josh Ball for me.
Spoonie, is there a guy since the pads have came on that maybe a little concerned?
Yeah, it's a cheap answer, but it's my guy, Jonathan Garibay, the kicker.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
Listen, I've been supporting that guy since before the draft, man. And it is bad, man. It's bad. It is so bad. When P.O. put up the percentage, I was like, God darn it. I was like, come on, man. John, listen, again, you come in here, you have the position. You have it. It's yours. Look here. Just perform. And that is it. And again, we can't keep missing kicks. And we don't need Jerry. We don't need Jerry to come on there. Listen, we know Jerry's getting older. Yes, we know there's certain things like, what did you say, Jerry? Did you really mean that? We know that. Perform. You should be kicking the shit out of these field. And Texas Tech, game winner. You did it a couple of times. You mean to tell me you can't kick against the win? If you can't do that, you don't belong in the league. Plain simple.
Maybe just a bad practice player. He'll make them all during the game.
I don't listen. No. Listen. Number one thing, all kicking. No disrespect to anybody, former kicker here. To be honest, and tell me if I'm wrong. You lift weights and you jog.
Okay.
Give me that job. I will go to Peru, Brazil. I will learn how to be a kicker, work out and kick field goals and travel the team and wear a Starman helmet. Yeah. How dare you? You got the easiest job on the field. It's only the hardest job when they need you to help win the game. Only when they need you. And it's very simple.
So you're not happy with the 59% is what you're telling
me?
I
am not happy at all, man. I am not happy at all. It's making me look. It's making my support look very bad.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Oh man, it's super early, to be, supremely worried. I think kicker's very good. Obviously, there's been some buzz about Steele. I think once the pads came on, I think he's done better. Somebody mentioned earlier, I'm not buying the Kelvin Joseph stuff. I think when we hear certain things about how they're trying to get him involved, and it was kind of the thing where, special teams, and we were kind of talking about, maybe be the punt return or whatever. Did they went and signed a guy? I just don't know. I'm concerned about the second round pick, and it's not about the off the field stuff or anything else. It's just last year couldn't walk through the door. This year, it's kind of man. So I'm worried about it. I think he has the tools. I just don't know if he's going to get it. I don't know. I'm a little worried about last year's second round pick, and boy, I tell you, it's scary. It's scary to worry about a guy that you picked just the second round last year, and wondering that he might not be that guy.
Right.
So for me, so far, look, and it's early, and things can turn around. But I would say Kelvin Joseph is the guy where I'm not sure about, and I'm a little concerned with.
Can we flip
So
the question and go the opposite route? Who's
oh,
one
absolutely.
guy that? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Let's do that.
we're going to get there. We got to be balanced. So we'll give who we're worried, but we're going to go the other way. Don't worry, I got you. But go ahead, the guy you're like, and camp is going great. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So we already talked about Wright. We talked about Houston. Houston's probably the biggest shock of everybody, but Tristan Hill's having a good camp. I know everybody's buzzing about the time that Tyler Smith did what Tyler Smith's supposed to do, but he's flashing. He's showing. When they did 11-on-11, he beat a block almost immediately, got in the backfield, stuffed Zeke. On multiple reps, he's getting really good push, and he's lining up all over the place. He's lined up at 3 tech, a little bit at 1 tech. He's even played some 5 tech. He's playing all over the place. I think Tristan Hill's having the best camp he's had as an NFL player. He still may not make the roster too, which is crazy. But Hill, the guy that everybody wants to be cut, the guy that everyone's saying is a bum, so far is having a very strong camp. So I want to make sure I give him credit where it's due, because he's a guy that is constantly the guy that's thrown under the bus amongst our fan base. So it's only fair that when that happens, we also give him credit. So Hill, whatever you did this offseason, it looks like it's worked out.
Fair. Spoonie, the guy that you're in camp so far, you're like, ooh.
Dennis Houston, the wide receiver.
Okay.
Hey,
out of nowhere.
Listen.
I mean, that's fair. We're talking about the Drummonds, we're talking about the Frogels, right? The Vashers, and now here's Houston. Fair, very fair.
Right, and I want to say this. He's the pure example of taking advantage of the situation. Pure example. And again, Noah Brown. I'm not doing something, but Noah Brown. You've been here longer than any receiver on the roster. Any receiver. And these guys are leapfrogging you. That's impressive to me. You know why?
He was having a good camp, though, to be fair.
No, he is. But at the end of the day, he should have won after Cedric Wilson gone. We should be talking about as much. We're talking about Dennis Houston since minicamp. He beat out Anthony Brown for a touchdown. Was part of the ones. I mean, you got CeeDee Lamb talking about him. I gotta give the kid. I gotta give it to the kid.
That's fair. And the chess kind of talk about a little bit. There was some some testing and worry maybe about Smith, but we've seen what he's done so far. I'll be honest. I mean, let me go to our second round pick from this year, Sam Williams, and
good one.
People were highly questionable about the pick, not sure, and man, so far in camp, wherever they've kind of lined him up, he's been disruptive. Dan Quinn talked about him today and what's happening with him and how they're developing him, the speed and the strength and what's going on. He's had a good camp, and I think for some people that's surprising. I think the fact that he's showing multiple, and the one thing I always kind of banged home was like, hey man, he played in the SEC in a 3-man front. They didn't play 4-man fronts. And so the edge with the 10.5 sacks sounds great, but there was things about, he didn't maybe set the edge well enough in the run game. Some of those, but it really wasn't his job at times, because more about the outside linebacker, the position he was playing. But when it comes to Dan Quinn, and I learned this last year, I learned my lesson with this last year, because when we took Osa in the 3rd round, I was like, on the live stream for our draft, I'm like, wait a minute, Osa, we just took a 3rd round. We just drafted a 3 tech in the 3rd round last year. What are we doing? What I learned last year, and I'm learning from my mistakes. Whatever Dan Quinn's doing, he has a distinct plan in mind, and it might not be visible to what that player's done in the past. And what we've seen early on with Sam, kind of Michael Bennett-esque, if you go up there to Seattle when Quinn was there, from the 3 tech, the 5 tech, all the way outside, even maybe a little wide 9 if you want to get him there, and he's moving around in those realms. and he's flourishing so far. So looking at Sam and his idea what his college tape was, but you had to plug in what Dan Quinn was thinking about the body type and what he wanted to do with him. And now he had to walk through the door. And so far in camp, he has walked through the door. And there's a lot of things that are happening. But I want to highlight and give some props to Sam Williams and how Dan Quinn is using him and how he's walking through the door. I think it matters. It doesn't get talked about enough.
They had a clip last week, and it was Micah Parsons lined up at edge and Sam Williams at 3-tech. Both got immediate pressure on the offensive line. Like, immediate. You have two guys that run 4.3, 4.4 that are 250, 260-pound guys. Like, that's
insane.
And that's not even talking about the opposite side where that might be a Fowler, that might be a Osa, that might be a Tank. Like, there's some toys there in the front seven for Dan Quinn to play with. So, yeah, Sam's a great one, too. And the chat mentioned a lot of good players, too. I saw Anthony Brown. We didn't mention Anthony Brown just because we all think highly of him and expected him to. So we're trying to go a route, maybe somebody that we weren't, not necessarily weren't excited for, but just didn't expect them to do what they've done so far. Mendoza brought up a great one too. Rico Dowdle is a guy I kind of wrote off, mostly because he's coming off of a hip injury, and at running back, that's kind of scary. He looks fantastic. So that's a really good answer too.
Big facts. And he slimmed down. Another thing about Rico, he kind of slimmed down a little bit as well too within that. But he's having and he's doing some things that you'd like to see for sure. But yeah, I just what they're doing in this front, and I think one thing we've talked about on this channel a lot of how they're going to be a little bit more amoeba. And I got that message during training or during the draft when the Sam Williams got picked, and there were some video clips that kind of showed that. Right there's clips of we talked about D Law slimming down. And maybe he's going to stand up, rush some more. Guess what? There's clips in camp where he's standing and rushing from a standing position. This defense will look a little different than it did last year because they're trying to be multiple in a lot of different ways and move guys around and do things. So once again, we're seeing some of the things that's been laid in our laps about things that are happening. We're seeing that at camp, which is exciting to see that. Lets us know we're kind of plugged into the right people that are giving us the right kind of information. And I'm excited to see this in training, not training camp, but in the preseason games and how it unfolds in that realm. And of course, Professor O, I had a nice catch Tuesday. Gotta give the shout out to O'Nall, doing this thing. And yes, real quick, I just saw that. I'm going to get to that. And Armchair, yes, no Hot Boys. We're look, Hot Boys, look. Doomsday defense. That's who we are, right? Like, it's been the steel curtain up there with Pittsburgh. There's never been no alteration. Steel curtain, right? Like, in Dallas, ain't no Hot Boy stuff here. I understand. And look, that came in. Taco Chart bought that in for what it's worth, right? Not get it out of here. I know they still kind of wear the chains and whatnot, but now Gregory's gone too and everything. But, man, it is Doomsday defense. This is what the Cowboys are about. This is the mantra that's been here time and time again. If it ain't Doomsday, I ain't trying to hear it. No new names. What's the song? No new friends from Drake. Well, no new friends. I don't want no new names for the defense. If the defense is up here, top 5, it's Doomsday, and that's how we're getting after it. I almost went to a Spoonie sermon there for a second on that. Woo! Let me calm myself down.
We also need to stop the 2.0s and the 3.0s. Just stick with the name. Like, Doomsday is a fantastic name. You don't you never hear the Steelers say, "Oh, this is Steel Curtain version 37." Like, this is Steel Curtain. Like, it's something you expect 100%. To have. So I know we haven't had this defense in a long time, so we're excited about it. But they don't need a catchy nickname. They're the Doomsday defense. That's a great name.
That's it. Yeah, it fits, right? Feels good. Feels comfortable. Doomsday. With that being said, Spoonie, I know you didn't plan on doing it. We didn't talk about a sermon. Mm-hmm. Before we get out of here, do you have a sermon, though? If not, we can table it. If you don't, do you have a sermon? Oh, okay, ladies and gentlemen. Sure. No, no, warn everybody. Warn everybody. Now, you blew our speakers out early. You're not blowing the speakers out here. Let's get everybody warned here. Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten to that point in time. Okay? Make sure you tell a friend. You don't want to miss it. Our guy Spoonie's going to come in, deliver the sermon for this week. With that being said, Spoonie, the floor is all yours.
All right, team. Gather around me. Good practice today. I love what I saw out there. Everybody's grinding. Everybody's pushing each other. I give a shout out to our new Cowboys acquisition, Anthony Barr. Everybody dismissed except for Noah Brown, Dennis Houston, and TJ Vasher. Please stand by. Dennis Houston, I want to say one thing to you, brother. You busting your ass out there since minicamp. You got Cowboy writers writing about you. You have Cowboy content creators sharing all over social media of the great work you have put in, all right? You see that there's a spot open, possibly two, and you're getting after it. You understand me? I'm proud of you with that. But I want you to stand by here because I want you to be an example of something. Noah Brown, you've been on this wide receiver depth chart longer than everybody else. And you got cats leapfrogging you. Why? I don't know. While we're talking about training for other receivers, you're still out there doing the same thing you've been doing for the rest of your career. Being standing right there. Nobody really saying much about you. Nobody's saying Noah Brown can be the number 3 receiver. My God, you got Cowboy Nation out here talking about why we got rid of Cedric Wilson. When Cedric Wilson went to Miami, that was your opportunity to step the fuck up and get into that spot. But you're standing right there. So what happens down in preseason? In preseason football, what are you going to do? Be the 5th wide receiver? Noah Brown, you got to start it up. Okay? Now, TJ Vasher, we had Kyle Youmans on here the other day, and Kyle Youmans came out and said, yo, he had the best outfit out of everybody, right? Now, you come in there with a T.O. shirt. Understand one thing, TJ Vasher. When T.O. came into the NFL, he said he wanted to be the best wide receiver. The best wide receiver in the league. He didn't wear no Jerry Rice shirt. He didn't wear no Michael Irvin shirt. He came out and said, I want to be the man. And he became from Terrell Owens to T.O. You wearing a T.O. shirt. You ain't performing like T.O. Professor O called your ass out for not winning a damn route. How the hell you T.O.? Get your popcorn ready. No, how about this? Cowboy Nation, what he meant was get our crying napkins ready. Because that's how we crying tears. We are damn near crying tears for a receiver to step the fuck up. You can be 6'5", 6'4", 6'3", 6'1", and you ain't doing a damn thing. This kid right here, Dennis Houston, he is putting that right there for y'all. He is showing y'all what it is to be a wide receiver, a hungry play to step into that spotlight and replace Amari Cooper. Step in there for James Washington. Step in there for Gallup. He's showing that. Y'all two have been here and ain't showing shit. Nothing. So I'm going to leave you off with this, y'all. Preseason is next week. Y'all don't step up, you will be replaced. Y'all dismissed.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You know.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Put on the church music.
My bad if that was too loud. I couldn't tell.
I was like, oh, my God.
Hey, I did not know that I was going to come in with the organ. I did not know. Hey, mods, man.
I like the organ.
Hey,
that
Wrench Gang. The Wrench Gang. Mods, get the nudes up out of here. Appreciate it. Oh my goodness. I was not ready. I was kosher. I was good. I mean, it's when he's doing his thing. You know, it is what it is. And then whenever I started playing the organ, I was like, yo. First I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what is and then it came back. I was like, yo. Oh man, that was I think I'm crying. I literally hold on. Let me Yeah, there's a couple of tiers here. There's definitely there's a Swinny got the bots in here even. Oh man, the
Yeah, I
bots
had to
couldn't
back
resist.
out of our YouTube because usually I have it on so I can be active in the chat. I had to back out of it so I couldn't hear how loud it was for you guys. And Nick's is like too loud. So I was trying to drop it where it wasn't like overriding Spoonie.
Oh man, that was a man. Here's the thing. Episode 9 for season 4. We've had some technical difficulties. We had thunder, we had hail. Spoonie just dropped. I didn't kick him. He did the sermon. He just dropped. I was trying to get Matt Owens' screen share out of here. He got jumped to come back in. We went through a lot today, but you know what? We've arrived. And maybe the organ was a little too loud, but you know what? It's authentic and it's real. And this is how we do it every single time when we come through. And bear with us, man. We're working on it. We're trying to do better. We're trying to figure out the right buttons to push and get it going and get it cracking. So we appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Man, we're just getting started this season. Man, we even got to our first preseason game. Look at all the fun we're having, man. And we appreciate y'all coming through. As always, humbly, if you like what you saw, if you hit the sub button, by all means, make sure you go out there, share it with people, build it up here. The one thing I will say, and shout out to the Pick 6 fam, is this right here. We started about 300 away from being at 1,000 subs. We are currently, the last I checked, I think we're like 112 maybe now away. So it's been ticking up, and y'all have been definitely supporting us, and we appreciate it. So once again, humbly we come before you. I need some more church music so I can do my sermon now for the follows. Please, by all means, please share with a friend. Tell them to come on by and sit down and grab a cold one and enjoy the Spoonie sermons. Maybe a little organ action. Mary on the margaritas. Y'all missed the Margarita Mary episode with I Object. That was a fun one. There's a lot of stuff to be had. And within all that, man, we try to deliver the best kind of content that we know how when it comes to the Cowboys, man. I appreciate every single person that's in here. The chat's lighting it up right now, man. Steve, my guy Haley, Mendoza extraordinary. There it is. Yeah, get it there. Yeah. TC in the building. He just got part of the Wrench Gang. We got to add to the Wrench Gang on Friday, by the way. That's what we're going to do this year. We're going to add to the, aka the mods. We call them the Wrench Gang around here. We're going to add to that. Let's organize. See, this is how high you needed it during Spoonie. You was way over the top. You was redlining, but now you got it. We're in there. You know where it's at. No, we got it. Yeah,
I had it right on the microphone, like facing it, because I wasn't on the screen, so I was just like looking at YouTube, not paying attention, trying to find a good organ soundtrack. Now I have it like 8 to 10 inches away off to the side. I think this is where it's at.
We found it now, so now we can use that organ moving forward. So we're going to upgrade the Spoonie sermon absolutely with this happening. And yes, Brian, tomorrow night is the Hall of Fame game for sure. I like this Pick 6 Sports to the house. Go ahead and pass it around, Kingslayer. Go ahead and pass it around, man.
I got a quick shout out. So I don't know if my wife's gonna run this back. She's asleep right now. She usually watches this or listens on her way to work. My wife is a registered nurse. She's been an ICU nurse for 7 or 8 years now. Last week, she just got an opportunity at a local college where she's going to be Professor O. She is now a professor of clinical nursing at a college nearby. So she's going to be working full-time as a nurse. And then 1 day a week, my wife is now the new Professor O in our family. So shout out to her.
Professor O 2.0. Not like Doomsday Defenses, but we can do Professor O 2.0. How about that?
Yeah.
We have 2.0s on that one. No ifs or buts about it. See, that's okay. Hey, man, only one time that your daughter gets married, if you're blessed. So go enjoy that. We'll see you and enjoy your weekend, man, and have it out there. With that being said, we are going to run it back. I am. And Spoonie, you're coming along because you were late today, so you got to come over for the space for a little bit longer. Sorry. It is what it is. You can't run away from it. Right? Yeah, and real quick, it says, man, Armchair out there, shout out to the new and improved Professor O. The better version of Professor O, even, I'll dare say. I don't think our Professor O
that's true. That's fair. That's
by
fair.
Any stretch of the imagination. Just change the name to just P.O. With that being said, guys, man, appreciate y'all. Y'all know what the business is. We're going back over here. We're going to jump on Twitter and run another space for a little bit longer. Friday, don't forget, we run the happy hour space at 7:30 p.m. Central, and then we're live and direct right here doing the Freestyle Friday at 9:30 p.m. Central. We got some guests this week. We
do. Yeah. So we have 3 confirmed guests so far this week. If you enjoyed Shane Carter last week, He's going to run it back. He said, I had a great time. I would love to be back with you guys. Last week, we had a last-minute injury scratch with Mauricio Rodriguez from A to Z Sports. He does the primetime show. He is well, he's healthy, and he's committed to be there. And we also have our guy DMV is joining us this week. So
that's what's up.
DMV has a YouTube channel. He is a Cowboys boxing UFC guy. So his, 3 tools in his bag on his YouTube channel, and he's going to jump in with us too. May have some other people too. And like Robert said, we have the link there. So if you want to tune in and listen, you're more than welcome to. If you want to join us, TC915 Mendoza. We'd love to have you guys.
Hey, look, we have got Mendoza, and I have gotten our guy Dean Dom. And by the way, Dean Dom was actually over there on the Twitter space coming up and speaking. So we got him in the spaces rocking. We'll eventually get him over here on this channel, though, too, and make it happen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. With that being said, guys, give me about 8-10 minutes, and we're going to rock the space on the other side. Y'all be safe and blessed. Peace. Oh, hold on. Oh, wait, real quick. Wait. Actually getting... Oh, stop it. Well, I mean, I'm getting out of here on time, but I'm about to go over to the space, TC. You never know what's going to happen on that side. Stay tuned. Y'all be safe. Peace.